Dragonball FighterZ. Developed by Arc System Works, who has a fantastic pedigree for fighting games, including such titles as Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. Is this another Dragon Ball game for fans only, or does it appeal to a wider audience? Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Hey everybody, this is Arc Flash, and today we'll be doing a review of Dragon Ball FighterZ for the PlayStation 4. I think the first thing that anybody's going to notice when they first kick this game on is going to be the stunning graphics. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. So as you can see, the graphics look exactly like they do on the show. And you hear a lot of people say that with some of the older games when they talk about those, but this one truly does look like the characters have jumped right from the show into this game. The characters, the colors, the flashy attacks from the show are all here for you to enjoy. Everything that you see here is a very accurate representation of all the things that you would see in both Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. The characters kind of look more like they do, I would say, in Dragon Ball Z. They're a little bit more beefed up. I noticed in Super they seem like they're a little skinnier, a little smaller. Here they represent more of their DBZ counterparts. But the ultimate attacks definitely deserve a special mention here. Just check this out and it speaks for itself.
This is it! I'm going full blast! Take this!
Damn, Trunks. Think you overdid it a little bit?
You're always improving, Tien.
Even though I just wiped you off the face of the planet. So before I get into the core fight mechanics of the game, I wanted to mention how everything was set up and how you were able to get into these various battles that you fight. And the game does all this through the use of a lobby system, and that you're seeing all these chibi characters running around. They represent your player avatar. And through this avatar you can enter tons of different battle types. You can do local battles, arena battles, what are called ring battles, where you can set up a room and have up to 8 different people fight or observe until it's their turn to fight. In the world match section of the lobby, you can either choose to do casual or ranked matches, which is pretty standard for most online fighters. Unfortunately, I did not see any option to team up with people. That would have been something that was cool. I heard that they might add that feature where they would have the ability to have 6 different fighters at the same time and you could all team up against one another. I haven't seen that yet. Maybe they're going to implement it later. I would really like that feature to be added at some point. You can also go on and watch replays of various matches, either from matches that you've saved or top player channels or popular replays. All those features are kind of nice if you want to improve your game, if you want to watch the really good fighters. Unfortunately, some of the people that I saw in there were just people that were trying to boost their score, so they would go against somebody that wasn't even moving most of the time just so they could increase their win-loss ratio. Very strange. I've always found it weird, people that do stuff like that, but that's a whole different story altogether. But I did see a couple that were employing techniques that definitely helped me improve my game, so it's a recommended feature that I suggest that you check out if you do want to get better online, or you just want to watch some cool matches. I'm sure that will improve as time goes on for sure, and people get better at the game. Now the last 2 things I would say that make up the main meat of the gameplay, besides the online functionality, would have to be the arcade mode and the story mode. We'll talk about the arcade mode first. So I'm glad to see that they did include an arcade mode right out of the box, unlike some fighting games. Street Fighter V. Now this arcade mode sees you trying to climb a ladder. I would say pretty typical for a fighting game, similar to like a Mortal Kombat or really an old school Street Fighter or anything like that, with the opponent's difficulty increasing as you climb the ladder. I do like that they have an arcade mode in here, and I enjoy the arcade mode, but one issue that I do have with it is the fact that the difficulty increases exponentially, especially as you climb the higher tiers. So how it works is you get various ranks after each fight. The higher rank you have, all the way up to S, you stay on that upper tier, which is what you want because that'll give you the best score and quite possibly unlockable characters depending on which one you're doing. But if you want to stay on that higher tier, it is hard as hell, especially when you get to the upper part of the ladder. The characters that you're fighting against do ridiculous amounts of damage. Now, it's not too bad on normal mode until you get to some of the ones that have more tiers. Once you get to the upper tiers, it kind of gets a little cheap. But the hard mode definitely gets very cheap, especially the ones where you are trying to unlock the Super Saiyan God versions of Goku and Vegeta. Unless you got the Day 1 edition of the game or ordered it from a place that had those Day 1 edition codes where you can unlock them right away. Have fun, because it is pretty tough to get those guys. You'll definitely feel like you earned it. Just a side note, you can also get them if you have, I believe it's 500,000 Zenny. Once you collect that, you'll get them too. So if you can't make it through the arcade mode, don't give up hope. You can get them eventually. Dragonball FighterZ actually has a really robust story mode, and I was very pleased to see that. They do a good job fleshing out all the characters in the game. Even normally ignored fighters like Tien and Yamcha get their day in the sun, which to me was really refreshing to see. I get kind of tired of the show focusing only on Goku and Vegeta mainly all the time and how powerful they are. It was nice to see all these guys getting their chance to shine too. So the story basically goes that you as the player are controlling the spirit that enters the bodies of all these various fighters, and through your ability to possess these fighters, you're able to give them the ability to fight when normally they wouldn't be able to because of a machine that was unleashed by the Red Ribbon Army that's releasing these strange waves that's inhibiting all of the Z fighters and the villains' powers. Now, I thought this was a great idea for them to do from a storyline perspective, because in the world of Dragon Ball, it's not really that hard to believe that something like this could happen. And the cool thing about it is it puts all these guys with vastly different strengths and abilities on a level playing field, because it saps every one of their strength. And since your spirit can only possess one person at a time, it makes a good excuse for switching out your characters in this tag style battle rather than everyone fighting at once, since basically everyone has no strength or abilities until that spirit enters their body. Now, there are a couple of times where that doesn't seem like it's the case, and there's some confusion because there's actually 3 different story arcs, and the story plays out in 3 different ways. So you kind of just have to get through the whole thing before it all comes together and makes a little more sense. But I like the fact that they came up with this new, fresh idea. It's not just a rehash of all the old storylines. Even if they would have done a rehash of Super, I think that a lot of people probably would have been okay with it, but I like the fact that they incorporated storylines from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Super all into this. It's really cool because it makes the characters have a lot of very interesting interactions that it's a special treat for Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super fans, because you get to see all these characters in these little cutscenes talking about their histories with one another. If you put Cell with Gohan, for example, he'll comment about how he wants to destroy Gohan. Gohan mentioning that he's a little bit too weak right now from his lack of fighting all the way up through Super. So they really do a good job of incorporating all these characters' histories, and it's definitely worth playing through story mode just to see those interactions by themselves. As a huge Dragon Ball fan myself, I thought it was just a hilarious treat to watch all these characters, both heroes and villains alike, teaming up, having these interactions with one another. And it's just really funny to watch their responses, because they respond exactly like you would expect them to. Like when Piccolo finds out he's teaming up with Frieza and Cell, here as you see, he has the expected reaction of, my god, no, I'm not going to do this. And just watching all these guys try to get along and just coexist, trying to go after a common enemy, Android 21, who's the main villain of the game. All while you, the character of the spirit, is jumping from body to body trying to help all these guys out. Man, does Nappa get trolled hard in this game, though.
You want to take revenge against me? When did you get so good at jokes?
What the hell's so funny? Well, hope you don't feel the same about me, because after we're done with this guy, I'm coming for you!
Oh, really? I seriously doubt you have the power needed to take me on.
Whoa. What's up with the stink eye?
Shut up. I don't want to hear anything out of you.
Looks like you're not my biggest fan.
Hey, old man, you're Saiyan, right? So hurry up and turn into a Super Saiyan already! Hey, you listening? Hurry up and turn into a...
Knock it off, pipsqueak!
No need to get so angry. Wait, you don't know how to turn into a Super Saiyan, do you?
Don't you worry about this. I'm gonna plow through all these chumps.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but don't let that get you killed and sent back to hell, where you belong.
But the story mode is definitely perfect by no means. As you can see here, you start off utilizing a game board at the beginning of every chapter. Kind of similar to the system that Budokai 2 used. I didn't mind it at first, but after a while, the biggest issue with the story mode is that it just gets kind of boring. It's pretty fun at first because you get to pick what enemies you fight in what order. Each of them have items that you can obtain that help boost your characters up, like increasing your vitality or your strength, your defense, how much Zen you earn after each battle, things like that. But the main issue is that you keep fighting the same enemies over and over and over, and after you've fought your 50th clone Krillin in a row, it just starts to get a little stale because none of the clones talk, they don't have any personalities, and they're honestly really easy to beat. I didn't have any issues getting through any of these clone battles until maybe close to the end of the second arc is when they started putting up a little challenge. But for the most part, compared to the arcade mode and what you see online, it is not going to prepare you for those more difficult scenarios that you're going to be putting yourself in later on if you play those modes, especially online. So yeah, just the fact that you can destroy these clones so fast, there's no personality in the fights. The cutscenes are really what makes the story mode. Like I said, it's worth playing through for that alone. I just wish the fighting and the way that you went about how you fought and who you fought was better implemented. Alright, so let's get to the main reason why you would want to play this game, even for fans of non-Dragon Ball games in my opinion. This is going to be one of the few Dragon Ball games that crosses that line between for fans only and people that just love fun games, love fighting games. I think the game strikes a fantastic balance between skill-based play and accessibility. And what I mean by that is people that are newer to fighting games and people that are more seasoned fighting game players that are able to blend together and play this game. The biggest thing that comes to my mind would be Super Smash Brothers would be the thing that I would compare it to, in that all the characters basically have the same kinds of combos in order to do all of their super moves, which is pretty much just a quarter circle, just like a Hadouken from Street Fighter. If you watched my initial impressions video, you kind of heard me talk about that, but all you need to do is a quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, and the shoulder buttons and combinations of the face buttons to do most of these moves. And there are also auto combos in the game, which means you pretty much just have to keep hitting square, triangle, circle on the PlayStation, and you're able to do multiple techniques in your combos and juggle and all those kinds of things that you would see more advanced users do in other fighting games. But the thing that I like about this system, and other people that are more hardcore fighting fans might disagree with me, but it's the fact that it lets people that aren't as seasoned at fighting games as some of the hardcore guys still play, still have fun. They don't have to learn 10,000 different combos for each character and study them all. If you want to jump in and play as a different character, you can, and learn his moves. But if you want to be a high skill player, you still have to learn more advanced techniques that way. The auto combo system will only get you so far, and if you try to go online and just auto combo everything, you'll make it past some of the early players, but some of the guys that have learned more and are better, they will kill you, trust me. There's guys I went against, and I was trying to do that newbie stuff, and I was getting crushed. So trust me, there are more advanced techniques that you can utilize. Just because there's auto combos doesn't mean that the game is just noob friendly only. So I would say without a doubt that is definitely the game's biggest strength, is that balance that it strikes between casual friendly and catering to the more hardcore fan base that really wants to deep dive into the system and learn every little thing there is to learn about it. And real quickly, I wanted to mention too that there is a character roster of about 24 right now. So not too bad. I mean, they definitely could have had more characters, I would say. But most of the characters do have a lot of individuality to them, so I would personally rather have that than 75 characters who are a bunch of clones of one another. Now don't get me wrong, there are quite a few that do similar moves, but I think they have enough differentiation between them to justify the somewhat small character roster. But let's be honest here, they probably did it this way so they could sell a good portion of them through DLC to get you to buy that $35 season pass, or sell you individual characters at, $7 to $10 a pop. And while that is unfortunate, I think there's enough characters here to where even the base game would be serviceable enough on the character roster for a lot of people. Selling large portions of a game's content through DLC and additional paid avenues is a whole different conversation we could have another day, but there's definitely a lot of debate out there about it. Unfortunately, that's the direction the industry seems to be heading right now. Which leads into the next point, in that there is one more thing I wanted to mention about Dragonball FighterZ, because I know it's going to come up. Somebody's going to be mad about it. And that's that the game has loot boxes. I know. Don't get too upset. Trust me, I feel the same way as a lot of you guys do about loot boxes. And here they're really not that bad. I was able to unlock a very large portion of the game's content with the zenny that you can earn just by playing the game. And all it really does is unlock unimportant things like lobby avatars, different colors for characters, different announcers, different titles. Things that are largely unimportant to the overall game. And so I wouldn't get too upset about it. They do have the option that you can buy some of this stuff, but to be honest, it is not necessary at all, and I don't think it needs to be, especially considering all the things that we're going to have to pay for through DLC down the line. So what is the final verdict on Dragonball FighterZ? I really think Dragonball FighterZ was the fighting game that a lot of people didn't even know that they wanted. They had a lot of different fighting games with the Xenoverse series and with the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi series. And while those games were good in their own ways for Dragon Ball fans, there was always something that felt like was missing in these games, and I think that Dragon Ball FighterZ manages to fill that void fantastically. And while, as I said, there are some flaws with the story mode, the game just does so much right. The graphics, the gameplay, the balance. This is the title that bridges the gap between people that just like Dragon Ball and play the games because they like that, and people that just like to play fun games, play great fighting games, because Arc System Works did a fantastic job here. These guys are knocking it out of the park with this title. And from what I've seen, the sales numbers on Steam have proven that. And I really hope that Bandai Namco keeps letting these guys run with this franchise, because I think it's only going to get better from here. So yeah, if you guys like fighting games, obviously if you like Dragon Ball, you're going to be probably playing this game anyway. But if you like fighting games, if you like the Guilty Gear series, Blaze Blue, any of those franchises that Arc System is known for, I highly recommend that you go pick up this title. You won't be disappointed in it. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my unboxing video of this game and my initial impressions of this game. I go into some more details. The unboxing, I talk to you about whether I think that was worth it of the collector's edition. I'll put some title cards up there for you and some links in the description so you can check that out. And don't forget to subscribe once again and leave the thumbs up if you enjoyed Dragon Ball FighterZ content. I am going to be doing some character breakdowns of all their movesets, some strategies. If you guys are new to the game, hopefully it will help you become better fighters. And if you guys like game reviews too, I'm going to be continuing on with that as well. This is Arc Flash of Arc Flash Gaming, and we'll see you next time.
Eat this!